Hello students, welcome to Learner's Planet. Let us continue with the chapter Diversity in Living Organisms. Well, this is the 18th theory session of this chapter, and in the earlier session I was discussing about the subclassification of kingdom Animalia. Right? Animals, they are classified on the basis of various features like the body cavity, the type of cavity present in their body, or the development from the germ layers, or symmetry, or the body organization. Right? There are some basic characteristic features, and I have already explained you about these points. Right? Till now I have explained you the basic features of the phylum Porifera, then Coelenterata and Platyhelminths. Now in today's session I will proceed further, and I'm just going to discuss about the next phylum, that is known as the Nematoda. Nematoda, or the nemathelminths or nematohelminths. Right. These organisms, this name has been derived from the word that is nema and the helminths. Nema means what? Thread. And helminths, it means the worms. So this group, they are commonly known as the thread worms, or they are also known as the roundworms. Right. Besides this, the group is also having one another name that is known as the escalminths. So let me spell it out. Escalminths, the name is, it is A-S, escalminths, A-S-C-H-E-L-M-I-N-T-H-E-S, escalminths, right? Further, regarding the basic features, now let us see that how much more complex are these organisms as compared to the other groups that we have already studied. These organisms, that is those which belong to the phylum Nematoda, they are parasitic. You know which other group is there in which the parasites are present? It is the one that is known as the platyhelminths that we have discussed in the last session, right? Parasites means what? Parasites are those organisms which are obtaining their nourishment from the host body. Right? So even these organisms that belong to Nematoda, they are generally parasitic and they obtain their nourishment from the host organisms. Right? Besides this, in this group, some are, or I should say a few organisms are there which are free living also. But of course the number or the proportion is really very less. And if they are free living, they can be either aquatic or they can be terrestrial. That means they may be found in the soil also. But of course these type of organisms or free living nematodes are less in number. Mostly they are parasitic, and besides this they are having bilateral symmetry. Now I hope there is a clear information, or there is a clear understanding of this term. I hope you know very well what we mean by the bilateral symmetry. So these organisms, as these platyhelminths, even they are bilaterally symmetric. That means their body can be divided into two equal halves if it is divided from the vertical plane or in the horizontal condition. Right. I think it will be more better if I say from top to bottom region. Right. Next thing is that these organisms, they are pseudo-coelomate. You know what is the pseudo-coelomate means? Pseudo means false, coelom means cavity. So these organisms, they are having a cavity, but it is not the developed or the real type. Right? It is a false cavity. Now what exactly is does it mean? It means that these organisms, they are triploblastic. First of all, okay, I'm sorry. They are triploblastic. It means that their body development, it takes place from 3 germ layers, right? And when these 3 layers are there, then definitely there must be some space between the layers, right? So in these organisms, space is present in between the mesoderm and the endoderm, right? But this space is not separated from that mesodermal layer, and thus I can say that a sort of cavity is present, but in that the real organs could not be placed, right? So such type of organisms, they are pseudocoelomate and they are triploblastic, and the real organs are not present. And of course, if the organ development is not there, that means they are having tissue grade of organization. And definitely these tissues, they shows a distinct division of labor, a clear this property, that is division of labor, is clearly observed, clearly or distinctly distributed in these organisms. So due to this, now I must say that these organisms are much more complex as we have studied the other complex organisms. Other complex, what I mean by this is regarding the group, that is platyhelminths, coelenterata and the porifera. So they are showing the much more complexity as compared to these groups. Further, these organisms body is like worms. Vermiform body. Do you understand what we mean by this vermiform or worm-like structure? It means that the body is elongated, it is pointed at the ends, or I can say it is cylindrical, and besides this, the organisms, they are transparent. They are not very brightly colored, or they are not having some colorful structures. These organisms, they are having transparent body. This is the beauty of these organisms, right? Further, the true skeleton is absent. You know, these organisms are parasite, so this tough or true skeleton is actually not required over there, but definitely the body is covered by a tough resistance layer, the resistant layer, which is known as the cuticle. So the body wall or the body is externally surrounded by the structure or the layer known as the cuticle. Further, the organisms, they show simple life processes again. The nervous system is of course simple, and it is having brain, a single brain, a small brain with two nerve cords. Besides that, the important point is that now these organisms, they are having a complete alimentary canal. Alimentary canal, also known as the digestive tract. Till now, whatever we have studied about the other groups, you know that those organisms, in them the alimentary canal or the alimentary duct is having a single opening, right? They are having the mouth through which the food is actually ingested, right? And another opening, right? That is the anal pore or the anus is absent. But here in these organisms, there is the presence of the anus also. So here the alimentary canal extends from the mouth till the anus, and this anus is actually helping in the excretion of waste material. Well, in these organisms, of course, anus is also helping in the excretion of waste material, right? Definitely, which is in the form of undigested food material, as well as the other type of waste also. But besides this part, there is an additional structure which is participating in the function of excretion. So in this case, I can say the extra excretory organs are also present in the form of some excretory glands and in the form of excretory canal. So these canal, they actually open outside through the pore, and thus the waste is also removed out in the from the excretory pore, right? In this case, see, as in the higher organisms, you must have studied the waste is eliminated in the form of urea, isn't it? That is, in the nitrogenous waste is also removed out. Then the excretory system is also participating in the maintenance of water in our body, as well as in the maintenance of ionic ratio, that is the level of ions in our body, isn't it? So in these organisms, the excretory parts are present, excretory organs are present, but they are definitely so much developed as in the higher organisms. So here in these organisms, the water or the osmoregulation, right, water balancing and the maintenance of ionic concentration in the body is actually maintained by those excretory glands and the excretory canal. So in addition to anus, the waste is also eliminated through the excretory pore. Besides this, the next is the circulatory and the respiratory system. There is no vascular system or the circulatory system which is present in this particular group. Similarly, the respiratory system is also absent. And of course, since these organs or the organ systems are absent, definitely the waste or the exchange of gases, all that is maintained by the skin only, right? And this is of course one of the reason that why these organisms are considered as the lower organisms, as all the organ systems or organs are not well developed, right? Also the circulatory system is absent, right? So in these organisms, see for example the things which have to be transported, right? Let us say for the excretory waste itself, the waste is distributed in the body cavity and is removed out with the help of these excretory canals and the canals, right? Besides this, the next is the point that these organisms, they are unisexual. Now you know very well what we mean by unisexual. Unisexual means that they are in these organisms, this individual body is having only one type of sex. That is, the individual body is either having the male or sex organs or the female sex organs, right? And these organisms, they reproduce by the sexual mode. That means by the fusion of male and the female gamete. Now interestingly, these organisms, they can be oviparous or viviparous. Now of course this point depends upon the type of species, right? And they can produce many children or many offspring at one time. So this is the important point regarding the reproduction. Now further, I should mention some of the examples and I will show you some of the pictures. So it will be, I mean, these pictures or the things will be clear in your mind. The things will go beyond your imagination, right? So let us see some of the examples. So these are the examples and the pictures. And see, example, see, it is simple, that roundworm that is known as Ascaris. You can see this picture here. They are having this elongated cylindrical structure, right? And this they are also known as the roundworms. These organisms, as I said, that they are unisexual, right? That means the male and female organs, sex organs, they are located on separate individual body. In these organisms, female is having a longer body as compared to the male body, right? Or the male organism. Besides this, if you observe these two pictures, you will find that in this male organism, this end point, right, it is having a tilted, I mean this structure is tilted here, right? It is curved. So this curve is present in the male body, which is not found in the female body. So by looking at the size and this curved structure, easily it can be found that whether the organism is male or female. Another example is the pinworm or enterobius. I can show you the picture. This third picture shown here is the enterobius vermicularis, right? Or it is commonly known as the pinworms. Fine. Besides this, another organism is the Wucheria, or it is known as the filarial worm. This filarial worm is commonly, it is present in the human beings. In fact, I should say that these organisms, they are transmitted through the mosquitoes. Through a mosquito bite, they are transferred into the human body, right? Besides this, you know, it is more interesting to know that where these organisms are present and how they are affecting. One important point you must be knowing, that these organisms, they are disease causing organisms. They causes disease in us, right? The ascaris, ascaris is it is causing the disease which is known as ascariasis. Ascariasis, see, initially these organisms, they are found in our intestine, right? And they are actually, if the number is there, of course number is high over there, so they can actually cause the symptoms like nausea, vomiting, or stomach ache, abdominal pain, right? Bloody stool is there, right? These are some of the common symptoms which occur in these diseases, the disease that is ascariasis. And even when these adult organisms in the severe infections, they are removed out from the body either through the vomit or through the stool. It is passed out from in these two ways, and definitely it depends that whether it is present in the, even it is present in your respiratory tract. Actually, I can say that they can cause the infection in the lungs also in the egg stage. Usually, adults are present in the intestine and they can lay the eggs, and these eggs can grow in the larval stage also. And these small structures or small bodies, they can be transported to the lungs through the bloodstream. So, I mean, they are really causing the very pity situation in our body. Next is Vicharia, which causes the disease which is known as the elephantiasis. Now, this elephantiasis, in general, you must have heard this name, that it is commonly known as the elephant foot disease also. In this particular infection, you know what happens actually? These are attacking our lymphatic system, right? And they can when this lymphatic system is attacked, definitely the infection causes the severe damage to our body. There is the enlargement of the body, various body parts like the limbs or the scrotum in the males, in females the mammary glands, right? Then the abdominal parts are also enlarged, and they get swell up a lot, and even it can attack our nervous system also. Really, the situation is really very pathetic, and even it can be fatal also. The next one is the enterobius, and these organisms, they are commonly known as the pinworms, and they are found in the intestine of human beings. The common diseases or the common symptoms which are caused because of these are like they lose motions, or the bloody stool is there. Of course, nausea type related symptoms are also there, right? And you can see that in such type of cases, when the count is high, these pinworms, they are even ejected out, or it is excreted out of the body through the stool. So these are the interesting facts about these particular organisms. Simply knowing the name is not enough, right? When you name the particular organism, you should have some basic information about those. So this is how these are causing the basic infection in our body, and of course which can later on become the fatal also in some conditions. Fine. So this is about the group which is known as the nemathalmins or the nematoda. Next group is the Annelida. So this name, that is Annelida, phylum Annelida. It is derived from the word that is annelid. Annelid, which means ring. So these organisms, their body is arranged in the form of rings, or these are also known as the segmented worms because of this reason, right? In them, the body is actually arranged in the form of different segments, right? About this group, I must say that these organisms are free living, right? They are free living, and that means they are independent organisms, and they are found in different habitat. Habitat is, of course, it varies, right? Like these organisms, they can be terrestrial or they can be aquatic. Now, if they are terrestrial, the region where they are present, it will vary. Like they can be present in the soil, they are present in the moist conditions, they are present in the rocky region or anywhere, right? In case of aquatic, They are found in the water of course, which can be either fresh or marine, right? So you can see that in this case the habitat is not limited, right? They are widely spread. Further, these organisms, they show bilateral symmetry. Just as we have studied about the other organisms like platyhelminths, then your next, that is nematohelminths, all are having the bilateral symmetry, right? And I hope now you understand, and there is not a need of explaining it. Just remember that the two halves are equivalent. The left and right part of these organisms are similar, right? Further, these organisms, they shows organ level of organization. Now here comes the interesting point. Till now what you have studied, that the organisms, they were having the tissue grade of organization, whether it was platyhelminths or it was coelenterata, they were having this tissue level of organization. Even in this nematohelminths, the real organs were not present because they were not having the real or the true cavity, right? So this is the first group where the organ level of organization is present. So definitely these are more complex than the previous group, right? Now this should be very clear that if they are having the organ level of organization, definitely these organisms, they should be not triploblastic and they should be eucoelomate. Eucoelomate, or simply you can call them as the coelomates, right? In these organisms, a true body cavity is present, in which the real well-developed organs could be placed properly at a particular position, right? Further, these organisms, they are also worm-like. So this group second is a second to which is having the worms in this group, right? Of course, worm-like, you understand, it means the body is elongated, it is narrow and cylindrical. And besides this, more important thing is that the body is metamerically segmented. That means the inner and outer part of the body or the internal and external structure is divided into segments. And of course they are having the organs, so the location or the position where these organs are present in these segments is also fixed. A particular segment is having a particular organ, or a particular system, it is present from particular segment to the particular, right? This way I'm saying that they are metamerically segmented and the position of the organs is also fixed. Now such segmentation was not observed in the previous group. The nematohelminths, they were also having worm-like body, elongated, cylindrical, bilateral symmetric, all these properties were there, but they were non-segmented. Body was not divided into the segments, right? Further, in these organisms, the exoskeleton, hard shell or hard skeleton is absent, but instead they are having, or the body is covered with a thin moist cuticle, which is present here in these organisms, right? Further, the organisms, they show a little bit more developed different types of organs or the organ system. See, organ systems, definitely as the organs are generating, so the network or coordination with other parts will also take place, and a developed organ system which is present in higher systems or the higher organisms is not present here, but definitely they show a sort of system here, right? Related to some of the life processes. So these organisms, if I compare the nervous system, then these organisms, they are having a dorsal brain, a ventral nerve cord is there, and the lateral nerves are present. Whereas in the earlier groups, you must remember that I explained that those organisms, they are having the brain and they are having the lateral nerve cord. Now here, in these cases, the nervous system is complex as compared to those groups, right? So here the brain is present, which is having the dorsal position, and the nerve cord is ventral. Along with that, it also carries the lateral nerves, right? Besides this, the respiratory system is not present, and the respiration, it takes place through the skin. And you know what this type of respiration is known as? It is known as cutaneous respiration. That means it takes place through the skin, right? And since the respiration or the exchange of gases occurs through the skin only, so the skin has to it has to be moist. So now you understand that why this moist cuticle is present over here. Since the in the moist condition, the diffusion takes place at a faster rate. So to supply the oxygen, the organism's body is covered with the moist layer, right? Further, for excretion, for excretion, the nephridia is present. Actually, nephridia are present. I must say that in these organisms, the number is of course not fixed, but it is usually present in the multiples of 2. And if I if I speak about the specific example like earthworm, then these nephridia appear as present in each segment. So nephridia, these are the structures which are helping in the removal of waste material from the body. These organisms, they open outside through the excretory pores, and they are involved in the process of removal of nitrogenous waste, as well as the maintenance of the salts and the water level in the body. So this is how the excretory system is absent, but for that these special structures or the organs are actually present, right, which is helping in the removal of waste material. Then regarding alimentary canal, it is of course developed and is complete. That means it runs entirely through the body and opens, it is having 2 openings. That means the mouth, and the next one is the anus. So it is well developed here. Further, it is the first group in which the closed circulatory system is also present, right? The circulation occurs through through these blood vessels. Besides this, these organisms are unisexual or they may be bisexual also, right? And in these organisms, of course, the reproduction is sexual. There are the genital pores which are even they are they are having the gonads which can produce the gametes, and these gametes, they will undergo the fusion process and the sexual reproduction will proceed. So these are the basic properties. Beside these, actually I would like to mention one more important property here. That these organisms are free living and definitely they can move around. So for locomotion, they are having small structures that are known as setae or parapodia, right? The cilia like hair-like structures are present which help in the movement of these organisms. Now I will give you some examples and I will show you the pictures so that it will be more clear for you to understand that what type of organisms belong to this particular group. Okay, so these are the examples like earthworm. To this you must be very much familiar. Leech, then nereis, etc. There are many examples, right? Earthworm is scientifically known as Phanecyma posthuma. This organism is the one that you're very much familiar, exactly, isn't it? So these organisms, they are found in the soil, right? As I told you earlier that they are having a wide range of habitat. They are found in different regions. So this is where it can be found, right? These organisms, they are having the segmented body. If you observe it, if you pick it up, right? I know you may feel a little bit bad to touch it, but of course, if you are a science student, you can proceed, right? So these organisms, you can see that they are having the segmented body, okay? And besides this, the thing that you can easily observe is that the body surface is smooth, it is soft, and also it is slimy and moist, right? Besides this, these organisms, they feed on soil. They ingest the soil. They have to eat food material, right? They are ingesting the complex food material. Now this complex food material is present in the soil, so they are ingesting inside the soil and they are digesting it. Fine. And then of course they are digesting, and the remaining material, right, it is ingested out from the anus. The undigested food material and the extra soil is there, which is removed out. So the excreta is actually enriching the soil material with the organic nutrients. And these type of organisms, they are used for the process of the vermicomposting, right? Because they are helping in the formation of the compost. Besides this, these organisms, they are having these cilia-like or hair-like structures in their body which are not visible by the naked eyes, and these structures will help these organisms to crawl or to move from one place to another. The next example is the leech, and this leech, they are not having the setae or the parapodia or such type of organs for the purpose of this movement, but rather they are having the suckers, and these suckers help these organisms to suck the blood from the host body. Next is the nereis, and these nereis are especially, they are having the segmented body definitely, and they are having the paired appendages on their body surface, and these appendages help such type of organisms to move around. Now you can observe that although they are having segmented body structure, but still there are some differences, and because of such differences the further subclassification is required, and that is what done in the further subclassification process. Right now, let me show you one table, and I will just compare the worms, the different types of worms. See, till now we have studied about the platyhelminths. They are also the worms, right? They are known as the flatworms. Then I explained to you about the nematohelminths, which are known as the threadworms or the roundworms, right? And now these are the next category, which are known as the segmented worms. So these different organisms which belong to these three particular phylum, they are commonly comprised of, or they're constituted by the worms. So now let me compare different types of worms. So here is the table, and the very first thing that I can compare is the habitat. So platyhelminths, they are having the flat body, number one, right? And these organisms, they are therefore known as the flatworms. Besides this, Nematoda and Annelida, they are having the cylindrical body, right? And is having worm-like body. In fact, round cylindrical structure is there. Fine. And nematode, they are known as the roundworms, but they are having unsegmented body. Besides the Annelida, they are having worm-like structure, but they are having the segmented body. So for such reasons, they are known by the other names also. Platyhelminths, they are the flatworms, nematodes are the threadworms, and the Annelida are the segmented worms. For habitat, platyhelminths, they are living in the host body. They are parasitic in nature, right? And if they are parasitic, so definitely they have to live inside the host body. And this host body varies from the type of organism. I mean, it depends from one organism to the other organism. But some organisms are aquatic. I mean, they can be free living also, and usually aquatic. Besides nematodes, they are usually parasitic in nature, and hence they live inside the host body. Some of them may be they may be free living, and they may live in the soil or in the water bodies, right? Besides Annelida, the Annelida is found in the different habitat. It is having the huge spectrum with respect to the habitat, and they can found in the soil, in the moist area, in the dry conditions, in the water bodies, or over the land area, simply rocky area, and so on, right? So they are widespread and they are free living. So of course this free living and parasitic is a kind of habit only that I have already stated. Platyhelminths, they can be free living or parasitic. Nematodes are parasitic, and usually they are pathogenic. In fact, they are always pathogenic. If I compare them with the platyhelminths, even the group which is parasitic here, of course it is disease causing organism, right? Then if I compare them with the annelids, these annelids, they are free living organisms, and it is not necessary that they always cause the diseases. In fact, they can be friendly also, right? Regarding symmetry, all these three categories are having the bilateral symmetry. Okay, body organization, platyhelminths, they shows the tissue organization. Nematodes, they are also having the tissue grade of organization. I'm really sorry for this mistake. Let me correct it. So further, I'm really very sorry for this mistake. So nematodes, they are also having the tissue grade of organization. In fact, I must say that the real organs are not present. Tissues, they are showing the distinct division of labor, right? And they are of course much more developed, much more complex as compared to platyhelminths. But definitely the real organs are not present, as they are not having the developed cavity. Okay. Further, annelids, they are showing the well developed organs in them. Regarding body cavity, platyhelminths, they are acoelomate. That means the real cavity or the true cavity is absent in these organisms, right? They do not have any space in between the two germ layers, that is the endoderm and the mesoderm. Pseudocoelomate, or I can say this nematode, they are the pseudocoelomates. That means a false cavity is present in these particular organisms. That means there is the space between the inner two layers, but they are not well separated. Further, in the case of Annelida, a very well developed cavity is present. They all are triploblastic, and they all lack the this exoskeleton. Besides this, if I compare the important digestive tract or the alimentary tract, then I must state this point that in the case of platyhelminths, a complete alimentary canal is not there. That means only a single pore is present. In the case of nematode and the annelids, the well developed alimentary canal is present with two separate openings, that is mouth and the anus. Moreover, regarding the excretory system, of course it is very important point, right? In the case of platyhelminths, flame cells participate in the process of excretion. In the case of nematoda, there is the developed malphizian tubules, and in the case of annelida, further developed structures are there, which we call as the nephridia. Okay. Similarly, there must be the comparison for different other features also. So let me just summarize all these information with this much part only, right, as per syllabus definitely. So this is all about these three groups. Further, I will come back with the next group, and there I will explain the basic features of the next group, that is arthropoda. Okay. So till then, thank you so much. Have a nice day. Goodbye.